It is Sipping with Sue time. I am Szu-Moy, and we are live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, chatting with real people doing real things extraordinarily. Here I'm with my good, amazing friend. Oh my gosh, longtime childhood friend, Diana. Cheers.
Cheers. It's been forever.
I know, it's been way too long. She's got a lemon drop martini, you guys. I think I need to up my game. Like I decided to not do wine and we're doing a ginger, I want to say gin and juice, but like it is not. I've got him in my head singing gin and juice. No, it's a ginger and ginger, but cheers. Cheers, you guys. Cheers to the weekend. Happy Friday. What is in your lemon drop?
It's citron and lemon. I put a little agave nectar and what is that other thing I put in there? I guess I shouldn't have. I already drank half of this and I can't remember. uh,
you guys are in for a really good show.
no, I can't remember. I can't remember what it's like. One of those, momentary lapses.
It's all
I
good.
can't
Hold
think
on.
of the
Cheers,
name.
cheers to old
But anyway,
folks.
lemon, squeezed lemon, citron vodka, agave nectar, and one other thing, and I can't remember what it is.
But yeah, I like lemon drop shots.
Okay.
Just one time though. Just one time.
Or limoncello.
Ooh, limoncello. Yes.
I love limoncello. I recently got my mom and dad hooked on limoncello.
Oh, it's the best. It's so good.
It's good, so right?
Yes, it is. So Diana is coming in from, this is like years and years of like backup right now.
I know. We haven't seen each other since
I don't even know where to start.
This interview is going to be like 4 hours long or something.
Oh my gosh. But okay. So we've got my good friend, childhood friend, Diana Ciminieri with us. Welcome. And so folks can get acquainted with you. Can you give us just a little bit of background about yourself?
Sure. I am from Long Island, New York. And Sue and I, we, grew up together, graduated high school together. I joined the Navy out of high school, and Sue joined the Air Force. So that was
we were going in on the buddy system, but then I copped out on you.
Yeah, that's right. I think you were going to join the Navy, right? And then you're like, oh, my brother was in the Air Force. I'm due the Air Force.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, hey, I think you made a great decision. So, you made a great decision. I love the Navy. I spent 10 years in the Navy. I wanted to do more. But, you were right about the lifestyle, the Air Force lifestyle and the Navy lifestyle. Very different. So, I had my daughter in England, and I know you had your son in England, and we were both stationed in England for a brief period of time together, which is really neat. And we both had our kids in England. So I, they stayed in for 10 years. As she got older, it became more difficult because, with the Navy, you're out at sea, you're deploying. And then 9/11 came around and, we were all being, sent, overseas and things like that. And, I feel like if you can't commit 100%, then you really shouldn't be in. And at that point, I was facing like the decision, like, what do I do if I need to go overseas? And, my daughter's father is also in the service, so she wouldn't have either of us. And I would have had to, find a guardian for her. So I made the decision when she was right before she was about to start kindergarten to get out. Otherwise, I think I probably would have stayed in and become a nurse corps officer. I wanted to be a nurse since I was probably about 19 when I was stationed in Iceland. I had a lot of time to think, right? What do I want to do with my life? And, I always, went in that direction. I felt like when I was focusing on other people, I was focusing less on my own problems, that we all have. And
Mhm.
it's just, I was always into like health and wellness. So I knew I wanted to be a nurse when I was 19. And then when I had my daughter unexpectedly, um, that things changed. So I was taking courses throughout my time in the service and, toward that ultimate goal of being a nurse and then hoping to be a nurse practitioner one day.
Mhm.
So was stationed. My last duty station was in Willow Grove, Pennsylvania. I was working at a clinic there. So I was an ocean technician analyst for 5 years. So I tracked submarines, and I was like, I definitely, it sounds so cool, but I was like, what am I doing? I can't track submarines forever. And then I became a hospital corpsman for the remainder of the 5 years. So I was at the clinic in Willow Grove, and then I ended up, getting out and staying in Pennsylvania. So that's where I'm
Mhm.
at right now. I finished nursing school right as I was getting out. Thank you.
Mhm.
Very difficult juggling being a single mom. I was a single mom and full-time active duty and going to school and moving here and moving there. I know you know what that's like.
Mhm.
So yeah, it was quite stressful, but it, I was driven to do it, and thank God, you know, I did. So when I got out, I started working as a nurse, and I
Mhm.
worked 13 years as an RN, and it was all hospital based. I worked as a float pool nurse. I was worked in almost every specialty, but always in the back of my mind wanting to be a nurse practitioner. But after that, it's like, God, I'm so tired of school. Like, I mean, it
It's a
took like
lot of school.
it's a lot of school, and I took like a 5 year reprieve. And just focusing on my daughter. She was really my prime. She was my life, my entire
Mhm.
life. Hence this topic. Because when your kids are your entire life, yeah, it's different when they leave. So
So
she
what do you do? What do you do now? Because
so
you do
right
something really cool now.
yeah right now I actually did achieve my ultimate goal of becoming a nurse practitioner. And so the really cool thing is that I kind of circled back around to my military days, and I now work
Mhm.
for Department of Veterans Affairs, serving veterans. So, I did want to, make a career out of the service, and I didn't, and I don't regret it because,
But you're still serving. You're still
right,
serving though.
but I'm still
So
serving.
thank you.
Thank you. So there are different ways to do it.
Yep. Yep.
I thought I wanted to stay in and make a career out of it, but obviously that wasn't in my cards. And,
Mhm.
being a mom was really became my priority. Things totally change, when you have your kid. And
Mhm.
so she was my priority. And the neat thing is that in the end, I feel like, I really am blessed to have it all because I'm still serving, at least serving veterans. And I work with a great group of people, and they know I love them if they're watching this. They're a great group of people. So it's really neat. The program that I work at is home-based primary care.
Mhm.
So, veterans can go to any VA clinic and get primary care services. But there are so many veterans that are unable to leave their home, for numerous reasons. And those are our, most challenging patients. They're the most complex, medically
Mhm.
complex. So they're on our program, and I'm the primary care provider for those veterans within a 40-mile radius of our clinic. So we bring the clinic to their home, and we have a great group of people. We have 3 nurses, we have a social worker, we have a dietitian, we have an occupational therapist, a pharmacist. And we all just kind of put our heads together to do what's best for these veterans.
Mhm.
And I like being out in the field. I was always in the hospital, and 14-hour shifts. It's just with COVID and everything, it's been
It
really
wears
a
you
rough life
down.
for healthcare workers. Really a
Yes,
rough
yes.
life. Yeah, and I know some people in healthcare. It's it's rough. So being in an outpatient setting, is totally different. And at first I missed the hospital, but I do like this, and I still get to be. I'm not really one that likes to be, in a clinic, just a traditional setting. I'm like the type of person that would like, go under the bridge to see the homeless person.
Mhm, mhm,
Like I don't want to just, work in the clinic. And so it's kind of nice. It's different. We get to go out in the field and see these
mhm.
patients in their home, develop a relationship with them. So it's great.
And
It's
help their every need. So what you're doing is fantastic, and I love it, and I wanted folks to know that as your background because it's something that's so different. I mean, you had your service, and yes, I know that you were like, I wish I would have, done my 20 years or whatnot, but you're still serving. And again, chatting with real people, doing real things extraordinarily. That's you.
oh,
That is you
you
for
too,
sure.
Sue.
But
Yeah.
let's get to empty nesting. So she had her daughter a little bit after I had my son. And so, for me, I have my son, I'm a boy mom, and it's one of those things that a lot of people have very conflicting viewpoints on. So folks will be like, they can't leave the house. They need to stay with me forever. And me, I'm like, you're still here? Like, when are you leaving? Why are you still here? It's time to go.
Well, it's funny.
So yeah, so I'm curious to kind of go back with you on how it was for you, and especially since you have a daughter, and how that's different between having a son, because I think there are big differences between like how you respond to empty nesting when you have a girl or you have a boy or what have you. So how was it with you having, with your baby girl? What was your methodology behind it, you know, rearing her and then getting her out of the house? Or did you want her to stay in the house forever?
Well, first of all, I don't think I had a methodology at first,
Okay, so like
but
okay, not
no,
a methodology, but like a thought
I
process.
understand.
You know what I mean?
No, I
We're parents,
understand.
we're moms, so we're just like just rolling with
Yeah,
it.
I truly did learn as I went. I was 22, when I was pregnant with my daughter. It was an unplanned
Mhm,
pregnancy. So I mean, I I just kind of rolled with it and
mhm,
considered it a blessing, and it absolutely was. So I think if I had a methodology to summarize it, it would just be love. You
mhm,
just give your kid as much love as you can. I did the best I could, and none of us are perfect, obviously. Who
mhm,
knows what we messed up in the meantime, right? You do the best you can, but I do think that the basis of everything that I've done was based on love. And I truly enjoyed being a mom.
mhm,
Um, it was the teenage years were very rough, as they usually are. It's
mhm.
hard.
But I also thought they were like one of the best times too, because when they're
Wow.
in their teen years, I feel like, you're rearing them, you're grooming them and everything. And up until those teen years, they're still not their own person with their own personality, but that totally blossoms as soon as they become a teenager. So you're now like talking with them and having conversations with them and getting feedback and input from them, and it's their personality and it's their opinion. So I actually, yeah, there's the quirky part of them being teens and they get all rowdy and ridiculous, but then at the same time, I just love seeing like having a conversation with my son and like, "Oh, that's your opinion and that's your personality coming out." So I
That's
love that.
that's really awesome. Yeah, that's great. It is neat seeing them become their own person.
Mhm,
I just absolutely loved the little girl years. That was like my favorite. So it's kind of the
mhm,
opposite for us. But then again, it's boy and girl, that may have
mhm,
something to do with it too. Boys are different than girls. Um, I felt like we were so close when she was little. And then when she started, becoming her own person, rebelling as
mhm,
we all did as teenagers, because you're trying to develop your own identity, right? And become your own
Mhm.
person with your own opinions and mindset. Well, I almost felt like it was a weird switch. It happened so quickly for me that
Mhm.
I was just like, wait a minute, what's going on here? So my
Mhm.
daughter is very much like me, and I think that's a big part of it, extremely.
It's like
And
looking in a mirror, huh?
it is. I mean, it is. And it's like, and it's great now. So yeah, so it was a struggle. It was a growing and learning process for me.
Mhm.
Definitely, but we got through it. And right now, I absolutely love what you were just saying. I have that with her now. Like, yes, she's her own person. She has her own
Mhm.
thoughts, her own ideas. She's doing her own great things. She actually is a big support to me. You're a support to them when they're little, but she is just such a support to me, and it's just great to be able to give her a call and ask her for her opinion. Or in
Mhm.
fact, she just called me right before
Mhm.
I got on with you. And she was like, I'm at work, mom. And I told her, I said, oh, I'm going to meet with Sue today. And, we're going
Mhm.
to, she's going to interview me. And we're going to talk. And she is like, I love you. I'm so happy for you and everything you do in your life, she said.
Aw.
It was so cute. It was really sweet. She's very supportive. And
Mhm.
I think your kids just want to see you happy.
Mhm.
So when you were saying, like you were like, okay, are you going to leave yet? With your
Mhm.
with your son,
Yeah. Well, I mean, again, I'm a boy mom, so for
right?
me, I'm like, you're a man now.
Yes, get out.
Bye-bye. Go.
I never
I mean,
had.
I didn't say get out, but
I know what you're saying. I didn't actually have the chance to even think that, because she was just like me.
Mhm.
She was 18 and she was like, I'm out of here. And this is what I want to do. And this is what I'm going
Mhm.
to do. And that's it. And I was like, okay. She left and never came back. So she's my
Independent,
girl.
strong woman. Oh yeah, yeah. Again, like looking in the mirror.
Yes.
Independent, strong woman.
Yes. And how do I feel about empty nesting? I think I've adjusted very well, but I
Okay.
didn't think I would. Um,
Mhm.
I thought, oh my gosh, like this is my whole life.
Mhm.
I didn't really have that much of a social life because I was so busy studying. And in
Mhm.
fact, when she graduated high school, I graduated nurse practitioner school. So we graduated together.
Awesome. That is fabulous.
Isn't that cute? So yeah, you do when you have and you know this, when you have kids young, yeah,
Mhm.
you're kind of growing up together. So
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah.
so it's neat. And I think what helps is that I did have my own thing too. You know,
Mhm.
I think
Mhm.
some people they put everything into their kids,
Mhm.
but they don't make time to think about what about me,
Mhm.
separate from being a parent. And I think,
Gotcha. So,
right, those are the people that really have a hard time adjusting.
yeah, so their sense of purpose, a lot of them, like their sense of purpose and meaning, they feel, it's not what I felt, but they feel like their sense of purpose and meaning go when their kids go. Like for me, I'm like, I had a job to do as a parent, right? And I'm here to take care of my kid, make sure that he is a good, God-fearing, does his civic duty, and is it just a good all-around human being. And then when I taught him and pushed all of those things out there to him, when he's ready to leave and he's done with school and he graduates high school, now it's like, well, this is your next step, is to kind of like, you know, sprout your wings and fly. It's the training wheels are off. This is life now. And my job was done at that point in time. But not everybody feels like that. So, what is
Yeah,
your
and
like what do you think about that?
I think I think that's great. I mean, it's true. You don't want to make them like dependent forever. You want to, I mean, you don't want the
Mhm.
40-year-old on your couch, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You don't want them like depending on mom and dad till they're,
Yeah, and it's
20 years
kind of like,
old.
yeah, you're what is the word again? You're not empowering them to be their own
Yes,
individual
yes.
and to be their own person to do what they need to do. Although there's some things like with my son, he's in the military now, as you know, where he would be calling and he was just like, "Mom, I need to know this. I need to know that. Da 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 da
Oh,
da." And I was just like, "Dang, man, I was in England and I couldn't pick up the phone and call my mom and dad like this to ask them questions. I just had to figure it out." So I'm just like, "You need to figure it out."
it's true. Like even you and I, like we didn't communicate for years. Like
Mhm.
now look how easy it is.
Now
But
it's like picking up where we left off.
yeah, right. It's crazy, yeah, because now with cell phones, you can just call right away.
Mhm.
Like I remember in boot camp, I heard they're allowed to have cell phones in boot camp now.
Yeah, I know.
Is that
Again, we're old
true?
people. We're old people, you guys.
I was like,
Yes, they're
I
allowed
was like,
to.
I mean, rarely, if ever, we got the 2-second call on the payphone, and then they're
Mhm.
screaming at you because your time was up, and you're like, "Bye, mom," you know.
Gotta
Um,
go. Yeah.
but yeah, it's very different. But no, I mean, I think you need to balance it, right? You
Mhm.
have to, with loving your kid and being there for them, and then also just kind of letting them fly on their own. I think it's
Mhm.
just really selfish if you think about it, to want your kid to stay home forever. Like my biggest thing is, God, if something happens to me, I want her to be
Mhm.
okay. Because,
Right.
even, I mean, yeah, we're young, but, you never know. Anything can happen at
Mhm.
any day. So, my wish for her is that, like you said, yes, I just above all want her to be a good person. And she is. I'm very proud of, the person she is. She's got a heart of gold. And I think that's most important is your
Mhm.
character. But, I want her to be strong and independent. It's worked for me.
Mhm.
And I have my parents to thank for that. And,
Mhm.
I just want to know that when I'm not here one day, that she's going to be okay and she's going to be happy and she's going to be fulfilling her purpose in life,
Mhm.
whatever that is. And, that's up to her. I do take a very hands off approach with that. Like my daughter
Mhm.
wanted to be, she wants to be, she is an actress, but she wants to be a movie star. And she is downright determined
Mhm.
to do it ever since she was little. And, people will be like, oh, well, that's really difficult. And,
Mhm.
and so I talked to her and I was like, well, what if, things don't work out? And she said, I don't want to think about what if. She said, because if I think about what if, then I'm not putting everything into it. I just want to think about it as, you know what, this is what I want to do, and there's no other option. And I was
Mhm.
like, wow, that's kind of like my
That's
mindset.
so yeah. And that's so if I yes, I'm telling you, a mirror, a mirror. That's so that is such a good nugget because and a life nugget, not just for like our kids, that's just a life nugget. If we were to think that way in everything that we would do, look at how much further we would probably be. It's
Right,
basically no boundaries, right? There's no boundaries. I'm limitless. I'm going to keep going and going. There isn't a what if in my mind. I'm just going to do it. That's
right,
awesome.
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I have to admit, like, I was worried. I'm like, oh my gosh, like, what is she going to do if this doesn't work out?
Mhm.
How is she going to pay her bills as an artist? She
Mhm.
does. She does. I told her, I said, when she graduated from the New York Film Academy.
Mhm.
And when she graduated, I said, if you can pay your rent, you can stay in New York City. But I'm not paying your rent forever, you know? And she said, okay. And she's still there. So, you know,
Cheers.
so I am
We have
proud of her
that.
perseverance. It hasn't been easy.
Yeah.
So, but she's
No,
willing to
but I mean,
struggle.
you're teaching her well. I mean, again, it's like you have done your job as mom, single parent, um, and instilled those values into her so that she can be that strong, independent person that's going to go out there and just go head on to tackle anything that comes her way. So that's fabulous.
Thank you. It's her journey, right? It's their
Hmm.
journey. And it doesn't matter really what you think. It's their journey. And I
Hmm.
certainly don't want anybody telling me what to do. so,
No, oh no, oh no.
so I get it, and
Hmm.
it's fun actually watching their journey. It's stressful
Hmm.
sometimes because when they're struggling, you're
Yes.
just like, oh God, it's like being like a voodoo doll when you're a parent, right? When they're hurting,
Hmm.
you're hurting. And when they're struggling, or I don't know, it's maybe different for a boy mom, but I have this like, young, beautiful girl in New York City now, and it's scary. I'm always
It's
like,
scary. It's scary. It's scary no matter what. Because
anywhere.
I think boy, mom that has daughters, I think it doesn't matter. Like my son was like the cutest, most handsome thing. And I was just like, you know what? I'm like, they're not gonna go after the little girls, they're gonna go after you. So that was that was me. Yeah, that was me being how I am. So I'm like, you can't go that far. Don't go too, don't walk away from me. You need to be right here because I don't want anybody snatching you because you're cute.
He is cute. He is cute. I know, but yeah, you do worry, and that's normal,
Hmm.
Suppose that's
Hmm.
normal. So,
Yeah, yeah. So what have you been doing as an empty nester?
well, I guess it- really, I'm a nurse as a nurse working as a nurse practitioner, really. So,
Hmm.
when my daughter left is when I actually
Hmm.
started my career as a nurse practitioner, and it's kind of bittersweet because my work life balance is better.
Hmm.
Financially, I'm more stable than I was, when I was younger. And I was like, wow, it'd be so much easier to have her now. So hard. And I'm like, now I've kind of like got to where I want to be. And then,
Hmm.
um, and she's gone. And I said that to her
Hmm.
not too long ago. I was like, I kind of wish I had, this lifestyle when you were younger.
Hmm.
And she's like, well, you have it now. And she said, I love seeing you happy. And I think that's important too. Your kids want you to be happy.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
it's good to live your life and let them see you living your life, because
Hmm.
it inspires them too. They still look
Hmm.
at you, and you're still an inspiration to them, even when you're
Hmm.
older and they're
Yeah,
older.
and still giving them lessons even in
Yeah,
our old age.
yeah, yeah. So
Absolutely, absolutely.
it's funny. I've always like had a goal, and when I finished one, it would be another one. And so, I was like, all right, what am I going to do next? If I could
Mhm,
do something in another life, what would I want to do? Like I don't know. I thought, oh, maybe I'd be a lawyer, but I definitely don't want to go to school, for that at this stage. I'm too tired. But I've always been into like health, wellness, and beauty. So my mom was a hairdresser, and I'm a
mhm.
product junkie. And so recently I've become a brand affiliate um, for New Skin. I love their products. So this is a fun
Mhm,
side gig for me. So the fun thing about being like, empty nester and having time on your hands is you get to dabble in different things and try things
mhm,
and take good care of yourself. You
mhm,
have time to go to the spa. You've got time to just, take care of yourself.
mhm,
So I just, hope to continue, feeling like I can give back and, connect with people. I feel like I have much more of a social life with friends now.
Mhm.
I just love getting together, with girls and having a good time, stuff that I didn't do because you were with your kid and by the end of the day I was
Mhm.
exhausted or you don't want to leave them, you don't want to get a
Mhm.
babysitter. Sort
Or
of
is
the
focused
feeling.
on play dates or those kind of things instead of
Yeah.
actually focused on you. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I do. I have got some friends that work, as nurse practitioners and med spas and things like that, and that's always
Mhm.
interested me. I don't know how far I'd go with that, but I'm kind
Mhm.
of pondering that. But in the meantime, um, I feel like I would be like an excellent product reviewer. So
Don't hey, take your daughter's advice. There's no what if, just do it. Just do it.
seriously, that's what she tells me. She teaches me a lot, I'll tell you. I
Mhm.
learn from her now. It's funny. But yeah, so no, but New Skin's been fun. I do like their products. I know you have that the wrinkle iron, right? The
Yes,
galvanic,
yes.
yes, facial
Yes,
spa.
I love that. Yes, I love
Yeah.
it. It's
Yeah. So that's
amazing.
fun. I like dabbling with all their products and, sharing them. And again,
Mhm.
I feel like it's interesting because as a nurse, I found so many people also in the beauty industry is like the
Mhm.
two kind of flip flop or someone every a lot of nurses have like people in the beauty industry like me. My mother
Mhm.
was in the beauty industry and then vice versa. So it's just about, I think, making people feel good,
Mhm.
rather than, it's not necessarily like vanity and, it's really just feel looking, when you look your best, you feel your best, right?
Mhm.
So it's just about
And it's taking
helping,
care of you.
it's taking care of you. So it kind of
Mhm.
goes along with that theme of now you have time to take care
Mhm.
of you. And you can
Mhm.
help other people take care of themselves and inspire them. And so I do think I'm gonna dabble more in the beauty industry part of it.
Mhm.
So
Yeah. Okay, Michelle, I see you. She said her biggest issue is taking care of herself. We gotta take care of ourselves first. If we don't take care of ourselves first, how are we able to give ourselves to others and take care of others? So come on, girl.
it's true. It's very difficult, right? I
Yeah,
know. And it
yeah.
depends. We only had one child. These
Hmm.
moms out there, like when I was in
With
nurse
multiple
practitioner
kids, yeah.
school, there was people in NP school with like 4 kids and a family. I was like, that puts me to shame. Like I couldn't handle that.
I
That's
don't
like
think I could
can't
either.
break
Like I've
hair.
always wanted a big family, but like it didn't happen for me. But I mean, I had my son and I mean, he got everything, or at least he didn't have to share, um, share us with anybody. Like your daughter didn't have to share you with anybody because
Right,
there was only one child. So yeah,
right, right.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So your relationships change, I think, during that
Hmm.
empty nest period. Um, they change, for the better sometimes.
Hmm.
So
Yeah, yeah. I think it's awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming
thank
on and
you.
talking with me. And we have such similarities and similar paths that we've gone through, and it's a crying shame, but this won't be the last that it's taken us this long to actually talk to each other and see each
Right.
other because it has been like you guys don't even know out there. It's been like over like what, 30 years? Yeah.
We graduated high school. As the last time I saw you is when we graduated high school.
Yes. Yeah, 30 years.
But definitely we were big parts of each other's lives when we were kids for sure.
Mhm. Yeah,
Yeah.
big time, big time. Well, I love it. I love it. So thank you so much for coming on. And before I let you go, like I like to do with all of my guests, we're going to do a just for fun speed rounds. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. So one quirky thing that you did as a mom.
Oh my god. I should put this on social media, but um, so when my daughter was an infant, I don't know, she must
Mhm,
have been like a couple weeks old. My mom came to visit us. Yeah, it was probably about 2 weeks old. She came to visit us in England. And back then, you know, right now it's like don't sleep with your child. It's dangerous,
mhm,
right? With SIDS and all of that. Back
mhm.
then, that yeah.
Yeah.
So right. So I was breastfeeding and she slept in my bed and I had the bed pushed up against the wall. So she
Mhm.
would sleep on the side of the wall. I had her so she didn't fall out of bed, right?
Right.
So I'm sleeping, she's sleeping, and then I wake up in the morning and she's not there. So I'm like, I mean, she's only like, she's a little, how could I lose a baby in a bed? I'm looking all over. Like, what the hell is going on? So I was like, Mom, I don't know where Courtney is. She's like, what do you mean? I'm like looking everywhere. And like when you lose socks or you lose shoes, where do you look, right? You look under the
Underneath the
bed.
bed.
She was under the bed. It's only funny now
Sleeping.
because she was unharmed.
She was under the bed sleeping.
So there's a little crack. It's like a
Uh-huh.
mouse. These little babies can, I told you, I just kind of like learned as I went. No methodology. Other than I love this kid and I'm gonna figure it out, right? So
Right.
so there's this little crack between the wall and the bed,
Mhm,
and she somehow slid down there, went on the floor, was on the floor. I mean, the bed wasn't super high off the ground, so
mhm.
and she was sound asleep, didn't hear a peep out of her. She just slept under the bed and I found her under the
Dang.
bed. That's just
Oh my
scary, but
gosh.
it's really funny now when I tell her I lost you once. You were 2 weeks old, and I lost you under the bed.
Yeah, yeah. It
So
happens, it happens. We have quirky, funny things that happen as parents. I mean,
right,
it's just that's part of life, it's fun. So what's the most memorable moment you've had with your daughter?
it's really hard to pinpoint. I mean, obviously, other than the graduations and those pivotal moments in life, I really can't say that there's definitely just one.
Mhm,
But I would have to say that the most memorable moments really are when we have our one-on-one girl time.
mhm,
Many of them were when I went to see her in New York City, and it was just me and her having a weekend in the city, going to see shows, going to dinner. Just, we always have such a great time together,
mhm.
no matter what we're
Aw.
doing. We have such a great time together. So those are the most memorable. I think maybe was it last fall or the fall before that? It was the fall before that. I took her to a winery. She'd never been to a winery before. And so, see, it's fun when they get older because they can
Oh,
drink with
yes.
you.
Oh, yes.
So we had a really good time and I took her she came home. She came to PA and, she was kind of just looking for just a reprieve from the city and to relax. And it was this beautiful winery here. And she was like, this is great. I've never been to a winery. They had live music. Oh my
Mhm.
gosh. And she was dancing like, with strangers by the end of the night. My husband had to like pick us up, because I was I
And
was
he
like,
was like, "What is this?"
yeah, I think you need to come pick us up.
That's
So
so funny.
really it's like, think of those good times you have with your like best
Mhm.
girlfriend. That's kind of when it's like, later on being a girl mom when they grow up. So
I had it as a boy mom too, though. We took Chance to his first wine tasting when we were in Napa, like, a couple years back, and I posted that picture, and the picture was him knocked out in the back seat. And the caption was, "I remember my first wine tasting."
Oh
I
my
can't believe
gosh.
you posted that, mom. Yes.
Yeah, you gotta watch because yeah, they get real pissed off if you post the wrong stuff. I often think about that, like these parents now, like we didn't like our parents didn't put like our baby photos and everything on social media.
No.
Can you
Yeah.
imagine like they people post some pretty personal things
Mhm.
about their kids. What about when that kid gets older and the whole world has seen their childhood? It's
Oh,
like,
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
right? Like, oh God, I think I would be, I don't know. I don't know if I'd like that as a kid, but I'm glad we grew up when
Yeah.
we grew up. That's for sure.
Yeah, there's no evidence. No
Exactly.
evidence, you guys, none. Okay, so what is the funniest thing your daughter has ever done?
Oh my gosh. So I'll be very honest with you. The funniest thing she ever done, again, she's definitely my kid. I can't really put out on social media. She would kill me. It was something she shouldn't have done. She was a
Mhm,
teenager. I got a call about it, and I
mhm,
should have been angry, but I really wasn't. I thought it was hysterical.
mhm,
And I remember calling my mom. I mean, I could tell you after this is all over, but I can't tell the world. But I called my mom and I was like, Mom, guess what Courtney did? And she cracked up laughing, my mom.
mhm,
And she was
mhm,
like, oh my gosh, that kid. But yeah, it's nothing. I could never put it out there. But I have to say, she's a very witty kid. And she's always
mhm,
just been like, like she likes being center of attention.
mhm,
So, when she was little, this is a cute one. When she was little, maybe like 7, 8 years old, I knew she was always saying, I want to be on Disney Channel. I want to be famous. I want to be an actress. So I thought, whatever, let the kid have fun. I actually took her to
mhm,
Philadelphia to audition to be to go to this school that it
mhm,
was like very selective, this acting school, and so that you'd get a chance to be cast of the Disney Channel.
mhm,
So I'm like, it'll be fun. So I took her there. She was all excited, and she had to when I went there, it was like at a hotel, big conference room. They had this huge screen, and they just kind of gave you like a something to memorize, a monologue or whatever. And,
mhm.
you have a certain amount of time to memorize it. And then you go up and you perform it on the big screen in front of like several hundred people. And I thought this kid is going to be like, Mommy, take me home, right? Because
Yeah.
scary. She went up there. Oh my God, it was so cute. And then she did her thing, and then she came back and she gave me a high five and she said, I so nailed that. And I was like, oh my God, this kid was so funny. I so nailed that. And I was so I was like, okay, this is selective. Like they only pick like a couple kids out of 100. I
Mhm.
got a call the next day and she went to the school. She
Oh,
got selected.
wow.
Yeah, she got selected.
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh my gosh." They're like, "Yeah, we really want to work with your kid." But yeah, she's just funny, she's witty. She was the type that always, you'd be having dinner and you'd have company over, and then all of a sudden she'd be coming downstairs with the feather boa and a microphone. All right, everybody, ready to
Oh my
perform.
gosh.
Yeah.
Well, we'll be looking for her name in lights for
Yeah.
sure.
Aw.
For sure. So if you could change anything about what you did as a parent, what would it be?
I would think more patience during
Mhm.
those teenage years, more patience and less yelling, but that's a lot to ask of somebody that grew up in an Italian household, you know? I mean, if I'm going to be kind to myself, it's a lot to ask. But yeah,
That's true. That's true.
hindsight is 2020. You
Yeah.
you always lead with love, but and we're all human, and sometimes you don't have the answers to all these things that come up, and you, like you said, you just kind of roll with the punches. So yeah, I'm sure I could have done some things better when she was a teenager. But all in all, we're in a good place. So
Hmm. Yeah. Well, I agree. Cheers to that.
yeah,
Cheers to that. Thank you so much again. And for everybody else out there, thank you for watching, and we'll see you guys next week.
thank you, Sue.
Have a great weekend. Take
Take
care.
care.